Hi, everyone. So first of all, to introduce the company for the few of you who maybe don't know Bidgely yet, we were founded roughly 5 years ago. We've gone through 2 rounds of funding so far, and we've collected up 24 million from some quite relevant utilities and venture capitalists. And our team is now targeting to reach about 80 by end of this year. We are pretty much spread out across the globe. Our main offices are in the US. Our main lab is in India, and we have now stronger premises in Europe and also an initial, let's say, premise in Asia Pacific and Australia. We are working a lot with customers across the globe, and Europe has been expanding a lot for us. And we right now have more than 20 utilities that we do multiple projects with in 10 countries. And this also entails a lot of complexity and in the disaggregation aspect of it, because we go to different countries with very different appliance types across the globe, and we try to keep our solution as general as possible. But the most important thing we get out of working with our clients is that, and you've probably heard it also from the other companies so far, disaggregation is not the end of the story. It's actually the beginning. It's what enables companies to then provide great experience and great engagement to their clients. And so what I'm going to show you today, just as a very quick examples of some of the research use cases that we have identified. Some of them are very simple conceptually, but actually they've been proven to be very engaging for customers. Typical thing is when you start providing energy insights or simple energy insights, like a user receives an email once we detect that his usage for a certain day or a certain, let's say, either on the total energy or on a single appliance has gone way over, let's say, the average. And so he receives a notification, and the user is then, led to look into the application. So our HomeBeat app kind of provides all of the details about what is currently running and in real time. And the user, for example, in this case, was noticing that he had his sauna running for quite a few hours, and he didn't even realize it yet. And this is actually something that you can achieve with high-resolution data, providing it to the user. So once the user realized that through the app and he went down to turn off his sauna, he actually saw his consumption go down to normal levels immediately. And he provided quite a positive feedback to us saying, hey, thanks, guys. You have avoided me spending a fortune this month, okay? Just simply because you informed me of this thing. Another example could be for when we send notifications on always on. Always on is that level of baseload consumption that you have below every appliance. So it's kind of the sum of all the things that are continuously plugged in and running at any moment in time. So what we do, for example, is we monitor when these things. When always on has some significant variations, especially in increase, and we notify clients telling them, hey, your always on has increased quite a lot, and you could potentially start saving quite an amount of money, and we have algorithms to calculate that based on rates. And we provide a whole number of, not only the money that they could save, but also a whole number of tips or recommendations on what they could do to get to that level. And among these things, so you can have different tips, and some of these tips can also drive to potentially interfacing with a retailer to actually purchase, for example, in this use case, the user went on to purchase a smart plug. He purchased it on Amazon. The smart plug actually arrived at his home, and after a few days of the smart plug being plugged in, he actually received from us a notification that was saying, here you go, as you can see, your always on consumption has actually dropped. And so you're actually getting too close to that level of energy efficiency and savings. And this was a comment that the client gave to us. Now, as we've also heard before, it's not only about energy monitoring and energy savings itself, it's also about peace of mind or lifestyle, as we were saying. So having use cases like, for example, the one that we call, did I leave something on? This is something that we trigger using geofencing through our app. So when a user goes like 100 meters away from his home, we trigger the functionality. The functionality disacts in real time and checks if there's something on it, except for the normal, things that are typically on when a house is empty. So, for example, base load or refrigeration. If there's something more, we simply inform the user. And the user is then, sometimes you leave the house thinking, maybe I don't remember what I had left on, and we just help you in remembering this. Or, for example, we can have another use case where we can tell the user that we have noticed that the consumption has varied in a way that we think someone has come home. Maybe the home was empty and your kids get back from school, and this is just a notification that you know. So these are all quick examples that we put together to see that it's not only about disaggregation. Disaggregation is a big part of the work we do. But there's actually a lot of work that then goes into trying to work with the utilities to come up with these use cases, which in the end of the day are what is more interesting to users. It's not the data per se, but it's actually how the data affects their savings, how the data affects their lifestyle. So this is just a feedback that we were having out of a sample of 2,000 users that tested this functionality. We always try also to collect the feedback directly in the app once we actually activate it. So very quick summary. Bidgely is, of course, one of its core elements and say key points is disaggregation. But disaggregation is never the only thing that makes the company grow. It's the way we use disaggregation to create value for the customers. And we do this continuously by doing research together with our clients across the globe.
Thank you, Gabriel.